Namaskar, I am Shilpi Singh, PGTCS. Now today we discuss about the looping or we can say iteration in Python. Then what is the loop? The loop means the some statement or some things will be do until the condition is true. It means we are doing the some task until the condition is true and we are repeating this. For example, if Neha wants to write her name 5 times, it means she will write Neha, Neha, Neha 5 times. It means it will looping to write her name. This is called the loop. Then in a Python, there are three types of looping or iteration statements. The first one is for loop, while loop, and nested loop. These are some types of looping or iteration. Now, this is a flowchart of looping or iteration. It means this is the condition. If condition is true, this one is the condition. If condition is true, this statement will execute. If condition is false, then the loop is terminated and the loop will be terminated. This is called the flow chart of for loop. It means this statement will execute it until the condition is true. Then the first one is while loop. The while loop, it means this is the syntax how to write the while loop in the Python. This is the keyword while, then condition. If condition is true, then a statement will execute. If we have not mentioned how many times the loop will be executed, then we are preferred to use the while statement. The next one is for loop. The for loop is used to execute the code based on the sequential data type of Python. This is the sequential data type. Sequential data types in Python are tuple, list, string, and array. It means we can use the membership operator in and not in. So this is the for loop. The for is a keyword and this one is the counter or we can say variable. In is a membership operator. Then sequential data type may be a tuple, list, string, array, and the statements. This statement will execute until the for loop is not terminated. This is the for loop. It means if we know the number of iteration, then we are using for loop. If we have not determined the number of iteration and term, then we are preferred to use the while loop. The both are the main looping statements in the while in Python. The next one is nested loop. Nested loop means If a one loop contains the another loop, this is called the nested loop. They are different, or we can say there are four types of nested loop. It means it is a combination of while and for loop. If a while contains another while, it means the outer is a while loop and inner is again while loop. This is the nested loop. The second type of nested loop is the outer loop is while but the inner loop is for loop. The next third one is the outer loop is for loop and inner loop is while loop. And last one is the outer and inner both are for loop. So it is called the next loop. Okay, the basic types of iteration and looping in Python is for loop and while loop. And the combination of while and for loop, and we can say if one loop contains the another loop, this is called the nested loop. There are four types. If while loop contain another while, this is the first one. If while contain for loop, this is the second. If for loop contain while loop, this is the third one. And last one is for loop contain another for loop. Okay. Then what is the for loop? For loop means or while loop. These are the iteration statement or looping statement. It means the some task is doing and executing statements are executing until the condition is true. So whenever the condition is false, the loop will be terminated and control transfer from the loop. Okay, then this is the overall concept of the looping. Okay, thank you and all the best.